Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to show my appreciation for the support leadership. We have Mayor Perkins with us this morning, as well as Chairman Bowman, the City Council. Both have worked with us very closely over the last week and been very supportive of my officers and my staff during this investigation. I also want to especially recognize the men and women you see beside me, behind me, around this room, many of whom have worked tirelessly since last Wednesday night to arrest the killers of Officer Chateri Payne. The detectives, officers, deputies, troopers, and agents you see with me this morning represent law enforcement departments from the local, state, and federal levels of government who have worked collectively to bring some justice to the family of Officer Payne and our fellow officers. We are still mourning the heinous murder of Officer Payne, but thanks to these men and women, we can have some peace in taking 3 evil cowards off of our streets so they cannot harm anyone else. The collective investigative efforts of the Shreveport Police Department, the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office, the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office, the Louisiana State Police, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and many other agencies resulted in the arrest of Treveon Anderson, Glenn Fierson, and Lawrence Pierre for the brutal murder of Officer Chateri Payne on January 9, 2019. These men and women represent some of the finest investigative minds in the state of Louisiana and the nation as a whole. In addition to their efforts, we have had numerous officers step forward and work countless overtime hours in order to provide crime scene security, work additional shifts to allow for their comrades to focus on this investigation, assist the family with funeral, travel arrangements, and meals, and to help fellow law enforcement officers work through the difficult process of coping with the loss of a friend and a coworker. As I share information about this case with you, please understand the investigation is still ongoing and the prosecutorial phase of the criminal justice system is just beginning. I will not provide any information which could affect the judicial process. As you know, officers were dispatched to 1633 Midway Avenue at around 8:19 p.m. on January 9, 2019, responding to reports of a female gunshot victim. Officers arrived on scene to find Officer Chateri Payne suffering from several gunshot wounds. She was transported to Oshner Health and succumbed to her injuries at about 10:17 p.m. Treveon Anderson, the boyfriend of Chateri Payne and father of their young child, was present when the shooting occurred and was brought to the detective office for questioning. He advised he was inside the residence when he heard gunshots, then went outside and shot at a person wearing all black clothing, whom he believed to be the suspect. He then noticed that Officer Payne had been shot. Anderson was released following his statements to investigators late Wednesday night. Evidence recovered during the course of the investigation led detectives to develop Treveon Anderson as a suspect in the murder. We believe Anderson shot and killed her and concocted the false narrative of her being murdered by an unknown suspect. 2 other men, Pierre and Fierson, have been charged in connection with the murder as well. We have also recovered the weapon we believed had been used. All 3 men were arrested and charged with second-degree murder. We will never understand the evil that exists in this world. One of my favorite quotes is, "The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing." Thank God for the men and women who proudly wear a uniform every day. Women like Officer Chateri Payne, who willingly took an oath to serve the citizens of this city. We may never know whether Officer Payne's chosen profession contributed to her death, but we do know a uniformed police officer was killed moments before beginning her shift. This is the time for us to stand united as a community and support the family of Officer Payne. The news of having arrested her murderers does not mean our job has ended. This is a small sense of relief because the fact is a young lady, a young mother, a young daughter, a young officer in the prime of her life was killed in a senseless act of violence, which is far too common in today's society. Unfortunately, we are still working to solve other violent crimes which have affected our community. This is not a time for celebration, and the men and women in law enforcement know there are more cases which need investigating, more crime scenes which need to be worked, and more evil still walking the streets. Although this case has brought more attention to our investigative efforts than most, our men and women work countless hours to solve every crime which occurs within our city. Furthermore, we have always worked with our partner agencies and will continue to fight crime as a collective